Welcome to HB RV Lifestyle. We are live answering your questions, as well as the fact that I've got a lot of updates today. Okay, so if you're watching this live or you're watching this later on, this is going to be one of those updates you're not going to want to miss. Okay, first off, just a couple things. Number one, I can't get to everybody's questions. Pretty good, Larry. How you doing? I'm going to add you as a moderator. Oh, you already are. Oh, you're already moderator. Look at that. Larry, hi, Karen. How are we doing? How are we doing, everybody? You guys are still moderators. Perfect. Okay, so, again, the merchandise store is now pinned in the comments, as well as it is in the description box as well. If you guys want to check out your shirts, your water mugs, coffee mugs and water bottles, totes, things of that nature. But also, I'm going to ask a favor of everybody. Once you get your shirt, I got mine on my way. Once you get your shirt, your hat, your water bottle, whatever you decided to get, take a picture of it and send it to me on Instagram. Tag me at KJBRV. Okay? All right. First off, before I get to the questions, huge update for you guys. Okay? So, I spent probably 10 hours talking to two of my sources over the last 2 days that I normally use on the podcast or on my RV update videos at the beginning of every month. Well, it was very interesting because someone actually sent me a video, and it was one of my, are you getting hats? Yeah, I'm going to get my hat. It's just going to be a baseball cap. It's there. It's in the merchandise store. Where was I going? Oh, so one of the big updates that's occurred is there's going to be allegedly a video being released on YouTube and other platforms of a phone call between a Grand Design Momentum owner and customer service over at Grand Design. And apparently, from what I'm being told by my sources, that this video is not going to look pretty from a PR standpoint, especially with all the allegations and all the speculation that's going on with Grand Design Momentum and Grand Design Solitude. So make sure you watch out for that. I want to make sure when that video hits, I'm going to share it everywhere, just because I want everybody to have the correct information and not any hearsay. So apparently, what I've been told by my sources is allegedly this customer bought a used Grand Design Momentum, a 2025 390 or 2023 395, and I'm doing great. Totally not Mia. So apparently, when they bought it private party, they called customer service, and pretty much from what I'm being told. And again, I haven't been able to listen to the video because it hasn't been released yet. But apparently, allegedly, the big customer service person over at Grand Design pretty much said pound sand. Allegedly. Now, we're not saying literally pound sand, but we're going to say that I shrank the whole thing down to 2 words, pound sand. And so, watch out for that, because there's a lot of mixed information. There's some good videos out there right now of customers that are brand new customers that are being taken care of. But folks that bought a used one, a 2021 to 2023, that's still within that 3-year structural warranty, Grand Design is not honoring it because they're a second-hand owner. Okay? I don't know if they did or not. I just know that I haven't gone to that stuff. I just know there's a video that's going to be released. Apparently, it's not promising, or it's not very pretty. I don't know. So I'm going to look at this real quick. So, by the way, if they posted something, if they made a release of a statement in the news, it would have shown up in RVBusinessNews.com, and I've been in there every day and have not seen anything about Grand Design or FrameFlex, so I don't know. They make Grand Design Momentum and Solitude, but again, they're fifth wheels. They're not travel trailers. So the travel trailers seem to not have a problem at all. I've seen some guys with some broken frames with travel trailers, but it's few and far between. So like the Imagine, the Transcend, the Solitude travel trailer, the Momentum pull behinds. So far, no issues. I have not yet received any information from someone saying that their travel trailer or their travel trailer toy hauler broke. It's mainly and only the big fifth wheels. That's so far. Hello, Okosa Court TV. Yeah, it's not a good warranty. Yeah, see, that's the problem, Blair, is these guys are in a bad position. All these YouTubers that are hooked into, like, for example, JD didn't like my video I did on my podcast. Okay, he didn't like my podcast episode. He made sure to let me know that and try to defend himself. But what JD doesn't realize is, even though he is sponsored by eTrailer.com, eTrailer.com sells a lot of Lippard parts. Lippard has a lot of parts that are sold through eTrailer.com. So it doesn't look good when you have a guy that's sponsored by a company that sells parts and he's got to go interview somebody. It just does. It's not a good look. You know, and he's put in a bad position. It's not like he's put in a good position. He's put in a bad position. It's not, you know, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I really think Josh the RV nerd should have stayed out of it because he sells Grand Design. And that's just my opinion. And he's been put in a very bad position. He's been put in a position that's not fair. You know, I mean, reality is, I mean, these guys are being put in really bad positions. And this should have been like head over head, you know, bull overhead should have been done and said so by Grand Design a while back ago. Right. Okay. All right, Fabio. So anyway, the other update I have for you guys, which is very interesting, is I have been told that by several dealerships across the country that I have spoken to over the last 2 weeks, that they are going to be raising prices. Okay. So those deals that I've been talking about for the last 7 months where dealers were taking massive losses to move inventory, that's over and done with for the most part. You still can find once in a while, once in a generation type of deal again, maybe here and there. But that massive, like, let's move the inventory, it's done and gone, right? The biggest reason why, folks, is because the factories are not participating in the losses like they should be. Like if this was the car industry would be throwing the dealerships 20-25% in money to get rid of the cars so they can manufacture more. Not that they've done a good job or anything, but the reality is the RV business doesn't believe in that. They believe that it's all the dealers' fault. They don't want to point the finger at themselves about overstuffing dealerships, overstuffing the market. So since they're not getting that loss covered anymore, or not getting enough of it covered, now it's back to dealers have to sell 2023s for invoice, and they have to sell 2024s for a bigger profit margin so they can stay in business, so they can replenish their bank accounts. And then you got another thing that happened too, another big update, is on March 1st, the book, the lending book, not what you see online and can keep clicking all the options, what the banks use in order to determine the loans that they're going to give on these units, dropped significantly. So what that means, folks, and this is where it's going to get a little, where you might get mad at me, okay? But now that difference figure for years that I've been talking about is about to get wider. So that gap between what dealerships are selling new RVs for and what your trade-in or the used RV is worth is now widening, that gap. It wasn't that way for the last 3 years. The last 3 years, what dealerships were selling RVs for versus the value of your used unit stayed the same for the last almost 3 years. And now that gap finally widened. That's because dealerships are going to begin to raise their prices, not dramatically. We're not going up to MSRP. But we're talking about, instead of taking a 3% margin or a 4% margin on a 2024, they're going to make a 8 to 10% margin. Okay? Instead of them taking a 20 or 25% bath in a 2023, they're going to be right back to invoice or what they paid for it. Unless something changes where the factories decide to actually finally get involved, those days of getting those incredible deals is gone. So if you were sitting on the sidelines for the last 8 months, a year, 2 years, thinking it's going to crash, I know this is going to be very unpopular, but you missed your opportunity. You missed it. Now, if you're sitting on the sidelines for other reasons, not ready, maybe you got a family member that's sick, maybe, you just don't have the time to use the one you currently have, whatever the case may be, if you were waiting for other purposes, hey, it was going to happen anyway. By the time you're ready, those deals were going to be gone anyway, and that's not a big deal. It's only money. But what I'm referring to is all the guys that have been telling me for the last 2 years, oh, the market's going to crash so hard, I'm going to pay 10 cents on the dollar for an RV. Ooh, okay. I'm not going to argue with you, but been doing this a while, been through 2 recessions. I kind of understand how the market goes, so if I'm a liar, I'm a liar, but apparently I wasn't wrong. Okay. If Grand Design does not fix all the trailer failures on the broken failures, they are done. Yeah, I believe you're about right, Larry. I'm kind of tired of all the frame flex and frame failure talk. I know it's getting views, and I feel for the folks that are dealing with it, but I also think social media is beating this a dead horse. Well, H2 Fowler, I half agree with you. The problem is like a lot, when it comes to frame flex and frame failure right now, if it's not continually put in front of people, nobody's going to be educated about it. And the hard part about social media is there's no such thing as evergreen content anymore. Okay? When it comes to things like any kind of problem, even if it was a tankless hot water heater problem, or if it was a roof malfunction, if it's not constantly being put out there, then it'll get lost and people will never know it happened. And that's just kind of how social media works, unfortunately. Now, when it comes to education of everyday things like financing, loans, walkthrough videos, things like that, I'll give you an example. I did a video 2.5 years ago about an axle problem that Dutchman Aspen Trail was having. I was selling Aspen Trails like 2.5 years ago, and I noticed they were having a big axle issue. And, they were quick on fixing it, but like it got views for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then it died out. So anybody that bought like a 2019 Aspen Trail has no idea that the axle problem was occurring because it died. And so if anybody buys a used one and they don't understand what's going on, and it's just like the brake caliper recall on Workhorse. With the Workhorse chassis with motorhomes, this is back in the day, it's really hard because I always have to go and ask people, did you have the brake caliper recall done? What do you mean by that? There was a recall on my brake caliper? Well, that's because everybody stopped making videos about it. If you made a video once every 2 months about the brake caliper recall with Workhorse chassis, people would be informed, because that's the way, unfortunately, algorithms work. They don't keep it as evergreen content unless, there's something dramatic. So that's the biggest problem with people stop talking about it. Once you stop talking about it, it fades away, and you got unsuspecting people that are going to be possibly victimized by it. So if they see a bunch of videos by like 300 creators, it's going to wake them up like, holy crap, they keep making videos about this, what's this all about? And then they'll snap and pick a creator they like, listen to the video, listen to the podcast, and bam. Not everybody's got to listen to me. A lot of times people will listen to, Jason over at RV Miles, or, some of these guys. But, like, the thing is you have to have these updates, because otherwise, until Grand Design puts out a recall on all these frames, then it's just going to be continue to be talked about, because it needs to be, right? So I understand you're sick of it. I really am. It's just like with other stuff I talk about sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I repeat myself, but I know I have to keep people informed. I don't think they're scared, Larry. I don't think they care, but that's just allegedly. Caught a live show for once. Hey there, RV Camperman. How you doing? Well, good, Scott Morris. That's great. Hopefully, I'll check into that in a minute. We'll look at that while we're live. We're at the RV show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania 2 weekends ago. The Grand Design dealer wasn't much traffic while they were there. Of course not. Well, thank you, Larry. I appreciate it. Hey there, American Dream. How you doing? I know Liz Amazing is getting involved, so it's going to get worse. Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys know, but on my podcast, I've been announcing, because even though I'm not a fan of Liz Amazing, I think she's very clickbaitish. I think she's got a lot of clickbait content that really just, to me, everything's Armageddon level, let's put money in the bank type of content. But I would rather have her going after this situation than Josh or JD, because she doesn't have an affiliation with a dealership or a parts company, so it's more credible. Even though it'll probably be clickbaitish, it'll be more credible in the end. So I like the fact that she's getting involved, even if I don't agree with her style, right? So I've been sending it out in the podcast like all the time, trying to get at it. Well, thank you, Michael. Really appreciate that, man. I hope to help everybody out. That's my goal at the end of the day, is just to help people out and get them educated. So let's see what Grand Design's press release is. Let's see what it is. Because it isn't on RVBusiness.com. Okay. Nothing. No press release. I see no press release from Grand Design. It's what I Googled. Nothing. The only thing that came up was from RVTravel.com. Grand Design RV's future hangs in the balance amid serious safety concerns. That's it. So let's see. Let's go look at YouTube itself. What do you say? Let's look at YouTube itself. Whoop. I suck at typing tonight. And by the way, no adult beverage tonight either. It's on Big Truck RV. That doesn't make any sense. Go on, get out of there. JD needs to get out of there. Okay. Let's see this. Here we go. We're going to play it real quick. I want to hear this. If you guys can hang out, I want to hear this while we go, okay? I went to the Grand Design website. Shows nothing.
RV and a better RV company. Everything we do and every product we build revolves around our customer with the goal to create...
Let me go Grand Design's website, because freaking he's terrible. Let's see. Nothing. Nothing. They did not put any press release even on their own website. I'm looking at news, and the only thing it says is Grand Design again recognized as best employer in multiple categories in Goshen News annual service. Says nothing on their website. Let's see. Let's go to the home page. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I'll have to watch the JD video later. So let's get to some questions, okay? Because I'm not going to spend any more time on that, because obviously if Grand Design was going to release a press release, they would have done it through rvbusiness.com. And of course, I don't see anything on that. So let's go to some questions, okay? Gmail. All right. No, Zachary, you got no shot at getting 30% off if it's a 2024 now. They've raised the prices because, number one. So guys, let me go into that one more time, because I get a lot of questions about that. I don't know yet, Jim. I'll look into that a little bit later. I haven't heard anything. But let's get into that pricing issue, okay? So pricing, because less RVs are being sold, that means that prices are going to stay up, because you have to make money to stay in business. If you sell 10 units in a month, you have to make more money on those 10 units than you did if you were selling 20. Okay, so prices are going up, not dramatically, but if you're getting 20%, 25% off on MSRP on an RV over the next 6 months, that's going to be the standard from now on. You might be able to negotiate an invoice deal on a 2023, but those days of getting a 3% margin or 2% margin on a 2024, done. It's over. And the reason why it's over is because, again, if the factories overall were coming into the situation saying, hey, look, dealer ABC, we'll cover half of the loss. So if you take a $20,000 loss on that fifth wheel, we'll cover 10 grand of it. Dealers would go back to taking massive losses. But because the factories are not participating like they should, you're going to go back to having to buy things at invoice on a 2023, or you're going to go back to paying, a 10% margin on a 2024. Okay. Guys, I promise I'll do a reaction video to Big Truck, Big RV on the podcast another day. Okay. I promise I'll do that. Okay. First question. 20 minutes in, we got our first question. Okay. I got to put my glasses on. Okay. I am a massage therapist, and I'm a 1099 employee. I'm not. She says where she works, but I'm not going to say all that. Okay. I have been asked for my tax returns for the last 2 years to buy a motorhome that I've been interested in over the last 2 years. The problem is I haven't filed my tax return over the last 2 years because, well, let's face it, I don't want to give the government any of my money right now. And times are tough, so I don't have the money to give them, so I'd rather take the penalty down the road. How do I get around getting my tax returns? And just to let you know, I'm buying a $200,000 motorhome. Okay. So, to answer your question, you can't get around this. Once you get over a certain dollar amount, it is, no matter what your FICO score is, you are required to prove your income. You are required, in a lot of cases, to give a background statement or give a statement of assets. So if you own a home and you have equity in it, your bank accounts, your 401ks, they basically want everything except for your firstborn child. That's when you get to certain dollar amounts. What I would recommend to you is if you haven't filed your tax return over the last 2 years and you have good credit, look for something used. Look for something that's under $100,000 or something under $130,000, somewhere where you're financing a lower amount, so that way you get to a point where they're not going to ask for your returns. You can also, at that point, when you're under 100 grand, it opens up the lane for people to get loans through credit unions. So you could either get your own loan through a credit union, or the dealership can get you a loan through the credit union. But when you're at $200,000, you are in a different category of what a bank wants to see. And that's been that way for the last like 20 years, unfortunately. Okay. Larry, he started listening to it but stopped. There really isn't anything in that video of value. Yeah, I'll as I said, guys, I promise I will do a reaction video on the podcast, okay? Just a reminder, the merchandise store is open. It's pinned in the comments section. It's also in the description box of the live stream. And if you do decide to get a hat, a shirt, anything off the merchandise store, I please ask you, please take a picture, tag me in it on Instagram at KJBRV, or tag me on Facebook at Levingston RV Services. Okay, next question, because I actually lined them up in my notes section here. And yes, I'm wearing glasses because my eyesight's horrible today. Okay, we just bought a 2024 Polaris RZR 4-seat 1000 Pro R. It is 14 feet 6 inches when I took a tape measure to it long, but it is 80 inches wide with the new tires I put on. I cannot find any toy hauler local to me that will fit this toy that I can tow with a half-ton truck. Do you have any recommendations? Yes, buy a motorhome and a cargo trailer. There's one trailer in the entire industry that's half-ton towable that you can fit that RZR in, and that's the Genesis Supreme RV 2015 and 2715. They're the same coach, just the length is different. So they make it in the Genesis Supreme, they make it in the Ragin, they make it in the Powerlite, they make it in the MGM, they make it in everything. So there's 3 sets. There's a 2015, 2515, 2715, and these do not have slide outs. And the way they designed it was, what they did was Pablo and his son put a RZR Pro R inside the toy hauler and then built everything around it so that way they can make sure these floor plans fit it. That's it. Now, I didn't see where you're coming from. So basically there's a dealer everywhere from Texas west. They're built in California. I still think he is the best toy hauler builder in the industry. Number one, may not be the prettiest, but it's the best built toy hauler out there. Not to say it's perfect, because there is no such thing as the perfect RV, but that's what I'd recommend. So there's only one in the entire country, or get yourself a motorhome, or get yourself an overland project that you could put on the top of your truck with a flatbed like Itzamiya said. So that's what I would look at right there, okay? All right. Next question. Boy, my allergies are really going out there. How do you feel about tankless hot water heaters? I heard you say in a couple of your walkthrough videos that you're not really sure about them yet. Can you tell me why? Well, first off, I've had customers who have told me those on-demand or tankless hot water heaters don't necessarily work properly unless you have good water pressure. Okay? So I'm taking it from customer notes. The other thing is I'm still in love with the propane electric hot water heater. The Keystone Cougar that my wife and kids stay in, propane electric. You use the propane to get the water hot, use the electric to keep it hot. A tankless hot water heater, according to what I'm understanding, is full propane only. So how much? I think it needs to be battle tested a little more. It's only been really used in the industry off and on for the last 4 years. So I'm on the fence about it because, like the travel trailer I'm sitting in right now, I have a propane electric hot water heater, and I could take a 20-minute shower and not run out of hot water. And there's off and on where air gets in the line, or maybe, my pressure regulator, I'm not getting enough pressure into the coach. So having the tank to me, just seems like a better fit or option. Again, only time will tell. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't have a stamp down, stab down type of opinion yet. Sorry, my wife rewound your video. JD had it. Okay. I have a gas electric fridge. Yeah, gas electric's fine, but just to let you know, gas electric fridges are going bye-bye. And Cedar Creek's not, but gas electric propane electric refrigerators are going to be bye-bye. I actually did a video on that earlier this week. Finally got to releasing it. Okay, next email. We are about to buy a... Oh, okay, it's a mobile suites. Okay, that was confusing. Okay, we have a F350, brand new one. It has the puck system, but what I am noticing is I cannot get a 30,000 pound hitch with the puck system for my truck. I've looked everywhere. I've called eTrailer.com. I've called the Ford dealer. I've called Ford Corporate. I've called everywhere, and I cannot find anybody that can get me a 30K hitch, because that's what I feel comfortable with. It's a long bed truck, and again has the puck system. Do you have any recommendations? Well, I've ran into this problem already with a Ram. Had the puck system in it. Now, I was selling them a fifth wheel that was not, I think it was 18,000 pounds GVWR. So a 25K hitch is standard with the puck system. So if you're looking for a 30K, you're going to have to get holes drilled into the bed of your truck. And that becomes a little complicated because most of these trucks that have the puck system in them kind of take away the room of where you could put the rails. So it's a little bit more of a chore to put a regular fifth wheel hitch that, let's say, is rated for 30K in the bed of your truck. Now, most of your mobile suites are going to be 24,000 pound GVWR. Not all of them. Some of them are 20, some are 18, some of them are 19, etc. Most of your heavy duty, big full-timer type RVs that have 3-inch thick sidewalls, they're heavy as hell, but a 25K hitch will be fine. I don't think you need to go to the 30 unless you really, really need to, unless you really feel comfortable. At that point, you need to go get the actual kit, which actually has the rail system. Now, the downside of the rail system is obviously you lose the bed of your truck. Okay, you could do the undermount rails if there is any interference. You know, Pull-Right makes it, Reese makes it. The kit's like $3,500. You know, you could do it that route. But you could do, technically, you don't want to do gooseneck, because gooseneck is going to really screw up your fifth wheel frame, especially being a heavy coach like that. So that's what I would say. Husky 26K, there you go. There you go. Yeah, 26K. Yeah, I use the one I've been using lately, just so you guys know, and if you're listening to this, the one I've been using mostly with the puck system is the B&W Companion 25K hitch. That's the one I've been using. Because I like the B&W Companion hitches better than most. I want an Alliance Paradigm, MSRP 104,995, 800 credit, 20% down. It's asking $85K, a feasible price, and interest rate can be expected. Actually, you could probably, let's see, hold on, 104,995. Let me do my math. Hold on, I'll answer your question real quick. That's a good one. Hold on. Let me do. First off, I got to ask, Jim, where are you at? What state are you in, or what province are you in, if you're in Canada? Get my calculator out. I'm going to show you guys how to do this, okay? Especially since prices are going up, I'm going to show you how to do your math. Jim Pell, what's, oh, there we go. Michigan! MSRP 104,995, so 104,995. Oh. Are you sure that's MSRP? That's not their selling price? 0.80. So I think you can buy it probably closer to 80 grand, and that'll keep their 9% margin. But I don't know if they're charging you PDI or anything. So at 80,000, if you're putting 20% down and you're an 800 credit, it depends on the credit history on top of it, your credit card debt. There's a lot of things involved. I would expect an interest rate anywhere between 8 or 7.99 up to 8.74. That would be the ballpark I would give you. If you put, let's say, so if you're going to put, let's say, $16,000 down, if you increase that to, let's say, 20 grand or $22,000, okay, according to the website, okay. If you increase that down payment to, let's say, $20,000 or $22,000, you could almost be guaranteed a 7.99 or 8.25 rate. Because the dollar amount's right, the percentage down, which will help cover your tax and license, plus, obviously you're actually putting a true 20% down at that point. You should be able to get yourself a rate around 7.99 or 8.25. So you want to look at if you could put 20 grand down or 22 grand down, even if you got put a part of it on a credit card, it'll save you in the long run. God, great coach, by the way. I love the Alliance Paradigms. Those are good. I wish I could sell those damn things. You know that? I mean, I'm serious. I wish they would let me sell them. They're not going to. Unfortunately, there's already a dealer in Vegas, so I don't have a choice. Hopefully that helped you out, Jim. Also, guys, want to let you guys know we are now accepting super chats, super thanks, beyond the merchandise stuff. So if you guys want to support the channel, hey, I really appreciate it. Let's go to the next question, which was a really good one. I answered them by email already, but I wanted to read this out loud because this was fabulous. Okay. I just talked to my local dealership, and they are having a RV shipped from the factory. When the factory got the RV, and by the way, it's a trailer, okay, guys? I'm not going to tell you what brand or anything. When they got down to my state, into my local dealership, I noticed that the date of manufacture was from August 31st, 2023. That's very confusing. How is it that it's a brand new unit, but it was built in August? Okay. So, without knowing the scenario, okay, let me give you 3 ways that this happened. This is how I answer it. There are 3 reasons why that happens. Number 1 is they probably did a build of that model back in August and September and haven't built it since. I've seen that a lot, especially with smaller travel trailers, where they build, let's say they'll build 50 or 60, and they've sold 40 of them to dealers. They'll keep the other 20 in the yard and sell them to dealers as they need them. Okay, so they're fully built, they're 2024s, and they ship them out. Okay. The other reason that may have happened is because maybe it was a unit that a dealership backed off of, and they haven't resold it to another dealer. That was very common. So I'll give you an example. This was a huge problem in 2022 and into 2023, where manufacturers just kept building and building and building rather than shutting down the factories. And so they built up yards with 100, 200 units. And unfortunately, the data manufacture was like 4 months ago. Okay, so that's a possibility. And then the third possibility is if it was ordered with full body paint. This is probably the most common, okay, is let's use Mr. Jim Pell's Alliance Paradigm as an example, okay? So let's say that they fully built the fifth wheel in, let's say August 31st, but it didn't get to the paint shop until December because the paint shop was backed up. So they don't stamp the data manufacturer the day it comes out of paint. They do it once they fully have built it and it's out of the factory and going to paint. So I'll give you an example. I have a 2023 Riverstone that's on my lot that was actually built in June and is a 2023, but it took 4 months for it to get through paint. Okay, so that's the most common issue without really going over. Or there was something missing, or there was something that was possibly wrong during their greenlit schedule, and that is a big possibility. Okay. Any Moon Rover 2024 available? I don't know. I don't have any with. I don't have any on my lot. I don't sell Moon Rover. So that was a fabulous question. Okay. Why is it that new motorhomes seem to be always going up in price? 6 months ago, I went to a dealership in Arizona specifically to buy, looks like a Newmar. Yeah, that's got to be a Newmar product, okay? And the dealership gave me one price. Well, they happened to sell that unit, and the new one that came in is now $25,000 more. That makes absolutely no sense. There's no chassis shortages. There's no shortages of parts. We're not in COVID. I feel like I'm just getting ripped off. Okay, well, I will tell you, I would feel the same way if I were in your shoes. The only thing I can really tell you is that the Ford, the Freightliner, the Cummins, Chevys, if it's Class C, the Mercedes chassis, they have jacked the prices up on the manufacturers. Now, I don't know if they jacked them up $25,000, but the reality is, and by the way, in the other part of the question, I said everybody's the same price across the country on the coach. So I don't know what occurred. Again, part of it is, like I said earlier in this stream, is dealerships across the country are going to begin to raise their prices and raise their profit margins up, because those days are gone and over. The days of losing money and losing your rear end and giving away units for 20% back of invoice, or, you know, selling a 2024 for a 2% profit, it's over. Okay? Those days are gone. So they may have raised their price to raise it back to what the minimum profit they need to make to keep the lights on and things of that nature, in conjunction with whatever price increase came from the actual chassis company. So it's not because of COVID, it's because nobody's making money. So when nobody's making money, they start raising prices because they have to make profit. So you notice car dealerships are really slow. So that means not as many cars are being built, which means that the union employees are still getting paid one way or the other. So how do they make it up? They start making it up in the commercial side by raising prices on the commercial entities that build, let's say, U-Haul trucks, motorhomes, things of that nature. Okay, so you have to just kind of realize that that's the phase we're going through. This is one reason why I don't carry a lot of motorhomes on my lot, because even Class C motorhomes, to get a 30 or 31 footer that's even just a decent product, the dealership, like an example, I have a 2023 Coachman Freelander 31 MB on my lot. My owner paid $107,000 for that coach to come on the lot 8 months ago. I just looked it up on a new one because I got a new price sheeting. It increased $5,000 from the manufacturer. So 2024s on motorhomes are more expensive. And if you look, the majority of the cost is in the chassis, in the base price, which means that that was the price increase from Ford to build that motorhome. So hopefully that helps you out with that. Okay. Let's go to the comments section. We love comments section. Comments section is awesome. Okay, I had some good ones. We had some good ones. Okay. You filmed a trailer that had a sliding glass door, and you called it a travel trailer the other day. It looks to me like a park model. What's that all about? Well, the difference is when I send it to a bank, it's considered a travel trailer because it has holding tanks. So like Palomino Pumas, some of the Coachman Catalinas, some of the Cherokee Timberwolves, the Salem Villa. God, I can't remember what the Keystone version is off the top of my head, but they all have freshwater, gray water, and black water tanks. So they are technically a travel trailer. They call them destination trailers. Okay. Enjoying listening to you. We are planning on buying a motorhome, not a travel trailer fifth wheel, but I sure in the heck have learned lots from you. Thank you. You're welcome. RVs should never be financed. If you can't pay cash, you can't afford it. It's a money sinkhole. Paying cash gives you peace of mind, just my opinion. Well, that's an opinion. So there's two types of people that have that kind of opinion. People that can't finance them, and people who have too much money and not enough sense. Cash, well, I shouldn't say that. That's kind of a joke and sarcasm. But cash is a terrible idea with any vehicle. Doesn't matter if it's a boat, doesn't matter if it's a power sports, a car, a truck, an RV. Paying cash is just stupid. Because now cash down's not. If you want to put 50% down or 40% down on the deal, fine. If you want to pay cash, this is what I was taught by my grandfather. My grandfather taught me, and he ended up a very rich man. My grandfather said, you finance and take debt out on things that cost you money, and you pay cash for the things that are going to make you money. It's the simplest thing. He leased all his cars or financed all his cars. He financed every RV. Even when he had all the cash in the bank, he financed everything. Period. He put a good chunk down, but he financed absolutely everything. And then he paid cash for his house, cash for his condo, cash for his rental properties, cash for this, cash. He paid cash on things that would give him money back. So it's very interesting to hear that perspective, because he said all you're doing is lighting money on fire every time you're paying cash for anything associated with a DMV. Anytime you have to pay the government to register a vehicle every year, and you're required to have required to have some kind of insurance, your car is a money pit. You might as well finance it. Hide your money in other areas and let it go. Let it roll. Hi, Peter Dragons. How you doing? Yeah, he was a very smart guy. I love him. Guys, real quick, my grandfather, I would not be here where I'm at in front of you guys. One of the reasons why was my grandfather taught me so much, and I've used it in this business, all the information he's given me. And even though, I pretty much climbed out of a hole that I never thought I'd climb out of, and, I'd say life is pretty good, especially when you consider what everybody else is going through in the world. Hardly anything to eat, trying to figure out how they're going to make their mortgage payment because they're not bringing enough money in. Some people are trying to choose between a car payment and putting food on the table. There's a lot of that going on in this country, a lot of that going on in the world. And so I feel very blessed that I'm not in that position. But, a lot of it has to do with education and educating yourself. And the one thing I will say is my grandfather well versed me in how money really works. And when he taught me all that, I'm going to tell you that you would not have this channel because I'd be too scared to do it because I don't have the education. But, it's very helpful. It's made me very successful in this industry. Okay. Will a larger down payment increase the chances of approval with somebody with not so good credit? 20% down compared to, let's say, 10% down. Will factors change depending on down payment? Absolutely. putting 20 or 30% down on a deal, if you don't have rock solid credit, helps with approvals and helps us find a bank that will give you a better interest rate. So I'll give you an example. I had a guy just recently bought a used travel trailer from us. Fabulous gentleman, veteran. He really hasn't used credit over the years, but want to use credit on this. Originally, he was going to give me $2,000 down on a $15,000 trailer, and I found a bank that if he gave me $5,000 down, I could get him from 19% down to 15%. And he ended up finding the $5,000. So a lot of times, not only does it help with the approval, but it also helps with the interest rate, because when you don't have very good credit, you can expect a rate around 19 or 20%. But we can shop that rate if we know we can get more down. If we can get more down payment, and we know that you've got skin in the game, we have other sources that we can use. Especially, let's just say, for example, if you're, let's say, a 620 or 630 FICO score, and the majority of the reason why you're that low is because of your credit card debt, we can generally find a 13, 14, or 15% rate for you if you're coming up with some skin in the game. If you're trying to get away with the minimum, really you're going to pay the highest rate possible. So yes, down payment really helps, because it just gives the bank, it gives us a wider range of lenders that we can use. Pete, what percentage of MSRP do dealers pay for rigs from the manufacturers, or is that a trade secret? Well, Jim, I can tell you that $80,000, more than likely they're making 9%. Okay? And that's industry standard. You got to make, in this industry right now, since we're not doing a lot of high volume, 9%, 8 to 9% is the actual profit margin that you're going to be at. So if you get and again, it depends on the manufacturer too. So like Alliance doesn't have a big markup. Jayco has a huge markup. That's why it looks like if you went and bought a Pinnacle would look like it has a $40,000 discount, yet you're paying about the same for that Alliance paradigm. So everybody has a different profit margin built into MSRP. But I will tell you, if you're getting, let's say, 20 or 25% off sticker price, generally the dealership's only making between 8 and 9% profit margin. So realistically, if it's a $50,000 coach, they're going to make probably $400 to $4,500. If it's a $80,000 coach, they're probably making between $7,000 and $8,000. Okay, well, no, not quite 8, probably $7,000 to $7,500. Now, that sounds like a lot of profit, but it isn't, because if you only do 10 deals in a month at, let's say, an average total profit of $5,000 a copy, because you're selling different levels of units, that's only $50,000 in profit. My payroll alone is $40,000. And that's without paying a salesperson. That's paying technicians. That's paying porters. That's paying my finance guy. That's without me taking a paycheck. Okay. Then on top of that, I got workman's comp. I've got insurance and liability that I have to carry on the dealership with my owner. Then you got rent. Then you got taxes. Then you got inventory expenses. So reality is a 8 or 9% profit margin just isn't that much in the grander scheme of things, okay? So the way I look at it, if you can buy that fifth wheel, if you go offer 80 plus tax and license on that paradigm, you're allowing them to basically make 8 to 9%. And if you're financing it, generally they're going to be a lot more flexible letting you do that, because then they can make up some of what they need to on the back side. But there isn't a lot of money on the backside. Unless you decide to go buy a warranty, then they'll make a little bit of money on that. If you buy any of their other products, you buy any more of their accessories on the backside of the deal, they may make a little money on that or make up some of the money on that. But generally, if everybody paid cash, then, 9% doesn't even really cover the bills. Okay, so hopefully that helps you out. I'm not broke. I make about $1,200 a month here on YouTube between my 3 channels. I make about, since we're not really selling anything, I make about $4 grand a month at the dealership level. I don't make much right now. I used to make between 10 and 15 grand a month, but since the industry slowed down, I really don't make as much as I used to. I couldn't even imagine the RV industry if cash was the only option. Oh yeah, there wouldn't be an RV industry at that point. I mean, it'd be insane. Okay. What about people on disability, Social Security, fixed income, retirement? Well, and again, this all depends. If you're, and this was on a video that I did about bad credit about 3 years ago. Okay, if you have what the industry calls bad credit and you're retired, they don't take bank statements, but you don't need tax returns either. You can actually get your award letters. So if, let's say, you were a Teamster and you're getting a pension from one Teamsters local and another Teamsters local, and then you're getting Social Security, maybe you're a veteran and you're getting VA benefits, there's award letters that are given, and that's all anybody needs is just the award letters. You're welcome, Jim. Really appreciate it, bud. No, not a car dealership. I mean, car dealerships are probably making more money than me because there's more. It's easier to get someone financed in a car than it is in an RV. And RVs are wants, they're not needs. So a lot of these salespeople in the car industry probably make more money than me right now. But that'll change in a year or two. When the industry makes its comeback, I'll make more money than that. But my goal, I actually have a goal of going full-time on YouTube eventually. I think I'm still far away. I mean, I got the merchandise store going, so I think that'll help me out in the end. I finally got some brand deals that are reasonable. The brand deals don't pay much, $100 for a video, and then I get commission off of the sales of it. So, not bad. You ever thought about opening an RV park? I have. Actually, a buddy of mine named Archie Rodriguez and I have been talking about it, but with him going through some personal things that require his money and me basically draining through my savings just trying to get through this economy, it's going to be a while before I can do that. I've been thinking about doing it maybe if things go well with this channel. And what I'm talking about is this: if this channel reaches 100,000 subscribers, I'm going to go ahead and open the RV park, because at that point I'll have enough income, taxable income, to open it with just the HBRV Lifestyle brand. And more consistency in income gives you a better idea of how to borrow the money. Speaking about the store, I couldn't find hats. Okay, I will check on that tonight. Check back tomorrow morning. I'll check it out, because I could have sworn I put caps in there. You're gonna make me look here in a minute. I got time for one more that I want to do, and then we're gonna go over some other things. You are my new RV nerd. Thank you. Boy, this guy really hates that really don't like me very much. Okay. Okay, thanks HB. I heard a while back that they were going to discontinue propane fridges. I just hope they are going to supply parts there still, quite a lot of even newer trailers with them. Okay, so this is a very big concern of people, because I'm not the first person to really come out with a video to talk about the end of the propane electric refrigerator. But the propane electric refrigerator, I was talking about this earlier, is used in more than the RV industry. So I'll give you an example. There are homes in different parts of the country. There's villages, there's cities that have very little to no electricity, and they use a similar propane fridge in those countries that run on gas. There's boats. A lot of boats in different parts of the country still use the propane electric refrigerator and not going to get away from it. There's other off-road companies that build off-road overland type of campers or off-road vehicles that use propane electric refrigerators. So even though the mainstream manufacturers and the independents are getting away from propane electric, there will still be propane electric refrigerators available for purchase, and of course there will be associated parts along with it. So just to kind of give everybody a we are live, Brian, we are live. Just to give everybody kind of I guess a deep breath and a relief that if you got a 10-year-old unit that you're in love with and it has a propane electric fridge and a circuit board goes out or a cooling unit goes out, parts will still be available for at least the next 20 years. Until these other industries come up with a different plan or a different game plan, when this gets phased out, it's not going to phase it out where you can't buy parts and fix your current fridge. Okay. Were you able to see the two cruising with Carson's videos regarding the Grand Design issues and how the CEO of Grand Design called him? Is that Greg? That's got to be Greg Carson. Is that who that is? Yeah, I saw his video, but I told Greg in a comment and an email that if it's the same guy we're talking about, if his wife didn't hurt herself and if the Grand Design employee didn't report that he hurt his wife, he would have never gotten a phone call. Let me be very frank, guys. And this is my opinion, and this is speculation, okay? RV executives at the manufacturer level don't really care about the dealership or the customer. Part of that is not personal. Part of it is they have so many things going on at once that the only time that they get involved in anything is if there's a potential legal ramifications or civil ramifications. And then at that point, now they get themselves involved. Again, I promise I'll do a reaction video to JD's video for his Grand Design response. I haven't watched it yet, but I'll do it later. So ABS and independent suspension. ABS is in everything. ABS is in every single motorhome. That ain't going to change. Independent suspension depends on the coach. So independent suspension on a dual axle travel trailer is a waste of money, waste of time. It looks pretty. It looks bulky. It looks like it's a lot of fun. But yeah, no. Okay. But yeah. Yeah. No, Greg's a good guy. I reached out to him through YouTube and email and just kind of let him know, like, I'm with him. He made a great video. He's made 2 incredible videos. I think Greg is an amazing guy. He's one of those guys that we just need to continue to hear from. But, you know, it's just, I don't want people to have a blindfold to think, oh my God, you mean the CEO reached out to somebody? It's different because the technician that went out pretty much like did stupid stuff. And so, you know, I think it was to prevent legal problems from occurring. You know, reach out, kind of do a PR type of thing, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's with any company. Let's say you had a major, let's say it's the same thing with CEOs. You remember when Walmart in Texas got shot up? Remember when a shooter went into the Texas Walmart? And if I remember, it was in Austin, Texas, if I remember right. And this is a few years ago. What did the Walmart CEO do? He called every one of the victims' families. I mean, it's just kind of a PR campaign thing that they're going to do to kind of, you know, save face or just kind of see if they can soften the blow. Well, the problem is, Zachary, is that, first off, the hardest part about any situation with service of any kind is there's unpredictability in a lot of stuff. And when you're not, the biggest problem we have in the industry right now, and we've had since 2000, since April of 2020, our biggest freaking problem in this industry is that service technicians, the old guard, pretty much left the industry. They were getting free money to sit on their homes in a lot of states and a lot of cities, counties. They just stayed home. And then a lot of the guys that were like 62, 63, that have all the education and all the knowledge and stuff like that. I've got a 55-year-old man that wants to hop from being a handyman to an RV technician. Okay? Just because he's 55 doesn't mean he's ever worked on an RV before. Just because you've been a handyman before doesn't mean that you've worked on an RV. It's like, oh yeah, I'm an auto mechanic. I've worked on Kia, but yet I got to go deal with a semi-truck with a diesel motor. It's the same type of thing. Like, yes, I know how to turn a wrench, but I've never done this before. And the biggest problem that we're having is those guys retired. The guys that knew what they were doing, they sat COVID out for 2 years, and now they're on Social Security. I personally know 20 of them that pretty much in April of 2020 gave everybody the middle finger and figured out a way to ride out the free money until they got to Social Security and their retirement. I mean, they were like, screw this. They were like, screw this. We're not going to come back to work. Not in this craziness. Screw that. So I talked about this on my podcast. So a lot of us brought in these younger kids or these people that have never been in the industry before. They've never worked or turned a wrench on a slide out. They may have worked in cabinetry. They may have worked in plumbing. They may have been electricians. But this is a whole different universe because there's no schematics. This is all touch and feel. So in the guy's defense, because I don't know the guy, and I really don't know what the guy's real background was, it doesn't shock me when things go wrong when a guy goes to test stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, there was no call if his wife didn't do it. And the other thing that I want you guys to realize too, and this is with anything, okay? I just had a travel trailer that was crapped in at the factory. Somebody crapped in the toilet and spit tobacco in the sink and made an absolute freaking mess of this trailer that it got delivered to me from the factory. First question from the driver that came to pick it up to take it back to the factory to redo everything. First question he said was, I'm going to go through and check the frame. What is wrong with the trailer? So I went over the things that are wrong with the trailer, and he goes, oh, okay. And I asked him, hey, why'd you ask me that? And he says, well, there's been a bunch of reports of frame problems on certain fifth wheels, and we're not supposed to pick anything up with a frame problem right now. So a lot of these transport drivers are washing their hands of taking these problem children Armageddon level frame problems, specifically from the allegations at Grand Design RV, and they're like, no, we don't want to deal with it because we don't want the liability to be on us if something happens on the road. So that's the problem, is when you get told by anybody, and this is by anybody, it could be Walmart, it could be Kohl's, it could be Coca-Cola, when they tell you they're going to personally send their own company driver down to pick up a car or pick up a trailer or toy hauler or whatever, and they don't have a transport company do it, it's because the they can't find a transporter, which is impossible because they're all begging for work. But the other reason why is because there's some kind of notification where the transport company is like, whoa, you guys are having some major freaking problems out there. We don't want the liability. So instead of like telling the truth, every corporation, no matter who they are, just like every politician, no matter who they are, kind of throw curveballs and kind of, twist words and twist situations to feel like it's beneficial to everyone. Like, we're stepping out of our way to do this for you. Like, really? I'm a lot smarter than the average bear. I mean, so that's the biggest problem. Then it's a great PR thing, because think about this. Greg gets on YouTube, gets 10,000 views on how And the CEO can now, which is Don Clark, can spin that into, well, look, we're taking care of our customers because we're sitting down our own truck to pick up the Solitude, and we made a phone call. It's just a PR campaign, and we'll see how it all turns out. But when you have speculation and accusations like this, of course you need a PR campaign to help you out, no matter what it is. Service bulletin done went out from GD. No person or animals allowed in RV during repair. Oh, wow, that's funny. Makes a lot of sense. Don't want the liability for further damages. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Which is interesting you say that because Gulfstream, because of all this stuff, I was told by a source of mine that allegedly Gulfstream is sending out a notification in their warranty packet and to the dealership stating, do not tell customers that they can live in these travel trailers. Do not tell customers that you can full time in their trailers. Imagine that. And Gulfstream's kind of an independent, right? They're actually still family owned. So imagine that. If that's true, if that is true, then that's the first domino to fall where they're going to start putting it on the dealership to say, stop telling people to full time in travel trailers. I always tell folks it's hard to full time in a fifth wheel. You need a toolkit and sense of humor. They're not the ones that are full time and full time ready have to be new. You don't want to really buy a used one and live in it, okay? Because you don't know what the problems are from the previous owner. You want to have like a 2 or 3 year grace period of owning a used one to see what the problems are before you hit the road full time. When I tell you new, I kind of limit people. Like, for example, I know pretty much that the Flagstaff and Rockwood fifth wheels by Forest River and the Cedar Creeks by Forest River and the Riverstones by Forest River, I have not seen a lot of people have a problem full timing going across the country in these and putting a lot of miles. I don't see the Armageddon level issues. I still contact customers of mine that bought 10 years ago, 12 years ago from me. One guy bought a Cedar Creek from me years ago, 2012, and he still full times and goes across the country, no major problems. He's had a small little ones. He's had an appliance go out. He's had a water leak here and there through plumbing falling apart, or he's had to replace fuses. But we're talking about like any kind of frame problems or any kind of roofing problems, any real slide problems. Hasn't had it. There's a lot of people like that. There's people that I know personally that I didn't sell them, but they own like a Keystone Cougar or a Jayco Pinnacle or what was the one by a KZ Durango. I've seen a lot of guys that own, a lot of folks that own these different fifth wheels that full time in them and they're fine. But like back in the day, just to kind of give you guys an idea, back in the day, I sold Heartland Sundance fifth wheels, okay? And Heartland Sundance was not a full-time unit. They told you, plain and simply, when Coley Brady was running Heartland, when he was at shows and I chit-chat with him, he would say plainly, don't tell people they can live in a Sundance trailer. It's a weekend type of trailer. It's a week-long trailer. If they want to live in it, go to the Big Country, the Bighorn, the Landmark. You got to spend double the money to get double the stuff. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Back in a while back ago, Wildwood fifth wheels, Wildcat Max fifth wheels, I was told, don't tell people they can go across the country and live in it. It's a week coach. It's the one you go on the weekend. That's the way I was trained. Now, and this is the other weakest part of the entire industry. The other weakest part of the entire industry is all the old guard of the guys that used to train guys like me are gone. Now you got these young punk kids who, walk around like they're a bunch of peacocks. I know of 3 reps personally that I carry their product And I don't want them anywhere near me because I'm just going to cuss them out because they're freaking idiots. They don't even know their own product. And I'm like, and these idiots are teaching people how to sell these things? I mean, the old guard is also retiring. You know, a lot of these guys, the guy who was the Rockwood rep and the guy who was the Flagstaff rep for years, those two guys, they've been at it for 30, 35 years. They're on the verge of retirement. They're on the verge of saying goodbye to the industry. And their replacements are these young punk kids who think that they walk around like they're just the beautiful. Look at me. I'm a rep. Look at me. I'm going to go drinking with all the dealers and I'm going to become their best friends. Forget the salespeople and teaching them anything. I'm just going to buy them lunch and then I'm going to go back to the hotel and then I'm going to go out to a bar and try to pick up chicks and then I'm going to go back to the hotel room and I'm going to tell my boss at the factory of everything that happened and I'm going to treat the owner like he's the king and screw all the guys who are actually selling the product. And that's how it goes. I mean, the majority of these young gun kids that are being hired at the factory level to replace the old guard, all they do is walk into dealerships going, are you going to order? Are you going to order? Are you going to order? When are you guys going to order? Are you going to order? Are you going to order? You need more product. Are you going to order? I mean, it's like, they're like squirrels. Like, huh? What? Huh? What? I mean, it's crazy. You know? Sorry, I went on a little rant. Let's back up a little bit. Let's see. He's on his fourth, so they fear him going to Brinkley. Yeah, well, you know, you never know. I might get to it, Brinkley, eventually. Shout out to Apollo. In the future, we want to full-time in a travel trailer. Well, Karen, plenty of travel trailers you can do it in. You could do it in Flagstaffs. You could do it in Rockwoods, Cougars, Paradigms. You could do it in anything by Outdoors RV. Outdoors RV builds a hell of a great coach. You could do it, you know, what am I missing? Jayco Whitehawk or Jayco Eagle travel trailers. You know, there's a lot of travel trailers you can do it in, but, you know, you're going to spend some bucks, you know. I was told never tell warranty department that you're full-time. Absolutely, because there's only a handful of companies that will help you with a full-time RVer. You can haul whatever, then lose it. Yeah, there you go. What doesn't help either is the terrible roads and a lot of trailers have basic cheap suspension components. That's part of it. Well, I'm very interested in ABS and independent suspension. You can put independent suspension on it. Yeah, there's lots of choices, Karen. You're just spending bucks, you know. Paradigm's good, Rockwood, Flagstaff. Trying to think of others off the top of my head. Keystone Cougar, Outdoors RV. We went and said Paradigm, Jayco Eagle, Jayco Whitehawk. Trying to think of some others that are really good. Oh, this is something, you guys, this will blow your mind because I haven't gotten complaints about frames on them. How about the Grand Design Solitude travel trailers? I mean, I know most people are going to say to hell with that. I'm not going to buy a Grand Design product of any kind, but you know, that's another one. I mean, I haven't seen the problems with frames or complaints on frames on the travel trailer Solitudes, right? So, you know, kind of some ideas. Northwood is great, but Northwood really the Nash travel trailer. Nash I wouldn't live in. Their fifth wheels, like their Arctic Wolf fifth wheels, yeah. But, I mean, if I was going to say my choice between Outdoors RV and Northwood Manufacturing, or basically Nash trailers versus Outdoor RV trailers, I would take the Outdoors RV over Nash any day of the week. If you were telling me, no, we're going to go out for 2 weeks in the back roads and the back mountains to go fishing, then I would be on the Nash train, no problem. But the full time in a Nash, no, I wouldn't do it. I would do an Arctic Wolf fifth wheel, but not their trailers. That's just how I feel about it. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are done for the night. So thank you so much for sticking around. As you guys know, I do this every Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, every Saturday. Thank you again for all the support. Thank you for all of you that did do a super thanks or super chat. Thank you to everybody that's bought some merchandise. I'll look into the hats and figure out why they're not showing up. Oh, Riverstone or Redwood. God dang, man. I'm biased towards Riverstone right now because I sell it. But you can't go wrong with either one. I mean, Riverstone is prettier, in my opinion. But you can't go wrong, Lucy. You really can't. 2024 election prediction? Yeah, we're all screwed, and doesn't matter which one. Here, real quick joke before I go. This will probably get me in trouble with a lot of you. Do you know what Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon have in common with Donald Trump and Joe Biden? They're both grumpy. Both are grumpy old men and an odd couple. Oh, cool. Enjoy the show. Anyway, I'll get on the hats thing. And, yeah. And yes, we're screwed either way. It doesn't matter. At one point, it's going to be, for me, it's going to come down to who's going to put more money in my bank account at this point, because both of them are a waste of space. And it doesn't matter who their VPs are. It could be Kamala or whoever McDonald's is. That's going to be a waste of space too. I mean, how are we having two, I think they're both north of 80 years old. How are we having two 80-plus-year-old men running for president of the United States, and they're the pastiest white people on the God's green earth? And it's like, if go watch Grumpier Old Men. If you guys have watched Grumpy Old Men or Grumpier Old Men, go tell me which one's Jack Lemmon and which one's Walter Matthau, because you can go either way. Jack Lemmon says, or Walter Matthau screams out putz, and Jack Lemmon says moron, and that's what Donald Trump and Joe Biden remind me of. So that'll probably lose me some subscribers, but it is what it is. All right, guys, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for all the support. We'll be back next Saturday, okay?